Hello, everyone, and welcome to Lindsey Reviews Everything. Today, I thought I would start this series off by reviewing something that really got me into filmography, that really just saved my life in general. Which, when you hear what it is, you're gonna roll your eyes so hard your head may fall off. Unless you know me, in which case you know what it is already, which makes it possibly even worse. But yeah, this film really, it inspired me. It really opened up my eyes, and it really helped me to see who I was. And we will get into that. But first, a disclaimer. As usual, I want you to go and watch these films, read these books, listen to this music, do all of this stuff yourself. Come up with your own opinions. This is just me sharing how I felt about it. That does not mean that I am going to dictate how you should feel about it. Okay? Go watch it yourself. Also, I'm not a professional critic. I have some knowledge in the industry. I do have a BFA, a Bachelor's of Fine Arts in 2D animation. Does that make me an expert? God, no. State that right now. God, no. But it does give me a little bit of insight as to how this stuff works, and gives me a little bit of an advantage when I can review things. Again, I do want you to go review things yourself. This is just how I feel about it, and I don't want you to listen to me go on about this and be like, well, the Lady Valkyrie didn't like it, so I'm not going to read it, or I'm not going to watch it, or I'm not going to listen to it, or I'm not going to go see it. No, don't do that. Make your own informed opinion. This is just something fun that I thought would help. Well, just give my opinion. I am just trying to get my views out there. Anyway, without further ado, today's review is going to be on the 2002 film Lilo and Stitch. Yes. Everybody's sitting there just, I swear, I know I heard 3 heads pop off. They rolled their eyes so hard. Do I regret this? Absolutely not. It saved my life. I don't regret it a bit in the world. It's a long story on how it saved my life, and I'm not going to go into that long of a story. If you want to know what it is, link in the bio. Actually, that's not at all what I meant, but comment, message me. I'll let you know the details. I'll write it up and just send it in a nice little PDF file. But yeah, this film really had a huge impact on me. I loved it so much. My mother can't stand it anymore. And by the way, that's the reason I'm wearing blue eye makeup, and I look like a dead person right now. Corpse Bride aesthetic, even though it's Lilo and Stitch. But yeah, the reason that Lilo and Stitch is so impactful to me is, at the age of 10, I was wondering if, and I wasn't suicidal by any means. Don't think that. I wasn't like, but I was wondering if people would even notice if I disappeared. Would it even matter if I disappeared? I mean, and that's kind of bad for a 10-year-old to think. You're sitting there and you're like, a 10-year-old has so much that they could offer, and yeah, but I didn't feel like I had that. I still sometimes don't feel like I have that, but it is what it is. I am coping with it a lot better now. But then this film came out, then Lilo and Stitch came out, and I fell in love with the art style. I fell in love with the story. I really connected with the story. It's how I met my best friend. As I mentioned, it's how I decided that animation was the path I wanted to take in life. And entertainment was the path that I was supposed to go down. And trust me, there were a lot of roadblocks. All of the roadblocks existed. My family were and still are not really to terms with the fact that I love animation and that art is my life and that entertaining people is my life. They're very much, you need to have a real job. And yes, I graduated 2 years ago now, and I still don't have a job in animation, but I have a lot of things that I'm working on. I'm working towards that, and everybody's like, well, we told you it wasn't going to be easy. And I'm like, yeah, I knew it wasn't going to be easy. Good things in life are not easy. Go figure. But back to the review itself. The storyline was very inspiring. Now, when I was 10, I just liked the crazy little blue alien. He made me happy. I'm 10. I don't have massive insight. I did love the art style, though. Like, I watched everything on that DVD. The rounded style of it, the depth of it. Yes, and I'm still that way. Like, Chris Sanders' art style, massive inspiration to me. So, if anybody can get this to Chris Sanders, I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for saving me. Thank you. No, no, just being silly there. But he really did save my life, and he is the animator I go to when people are like, "Oh, well, who's your favorite animator?" And people expect me to say, "Oh, Hanna-Barbera," or "Oh, Tom Jones," or I'm an oldie at heart, because yes, 2D is my specialty. But no, Chris Sanders is the one who really hit that home for me. Now that I'm older, I can look at the film through an objective opinion and through the training that I was given, and I see the nuances. I see how deep that story is, how important and impactful that story really is to people, self included. And that was something I didn't notice as a 10-year-old. Again, I just liked the little blue alien that was absolutely crazy. I loved him. But now that I'm older, I can see that story had such an impact on me because I did come from a broken family. My family, admittedly at the time, they were together, but they were still broken. My parents got a divorce when I'm awful with numbers, so we're just going to leave it at they got a divorce. But even at the age of 10, I saw that they didn't really love each other anymore. Not in the sense that Disney or any other show or any other animated thing that I was watching was telling me that love was. Okay, so I guess that just means that love is a fantasy. Hello, demisexuality, how are you doing? I'm doing fine. I think I'm just going to stick with you for a while. Yeah, that happened. And it was a lot for me. And so, I mean, I didn't really have, my mom was my nanny, admittedly. She's my mother, not my older sister, but she was there for me. She supports me to this day. She's the best mom anyone could ask for. I love her so much. Now, did I get my fair share of whippings from her? Oh my God, yes. Did it make me a better person? Oh my God, yes. Because otherwise Stitch would have looked tamed compared to me. It was a lot. It was a lot. And I feel like this entire review has mostly been me rambling about my childhood, and I am sorry about that. I'm so sorry about that. The film, it has a lot of great aspects to it. The story is, as I said, breathtaking. Absolutely fantastic. And it tells you, it is a story about the old saying, blood is thicker than water. Again, it has been shortened. Most people think that means that your family is the most important thing to you. No, the blood of the covenant, the family that you choose, is thicker than the water of the womb. It's stronger than the family that you're born into. So I love how that was, because I found my best friend through that film too. We met, and honest to God, she didn't speak for 2 months. people still ask me how that was, but she'll attest to this. Melinda, if you're watching, comment, girl. Tell them you did not speak for 2 solid months. But we were best friends, and we've been best friends since that time. The art. Let me go into that art real quick, because that art, oh my God. So, I remember being young, being not old enough to know what this meant, and watching it and watching the commentary and hearing the artists behind it, all of the artists, not just Chris, but everybody behind it, telling me that the reason they chose to do a more rounded structure as opposed to the sharper structures that a lot of people do is because it was easier on the eyes. It was more welcoming to the eyes, and that stuck with me through everything. Oh my God, I cannot begin to tell you how many things I try to make round because it is easy on the eyes. And it was the weight they put into it. You can look at the drawings, because they are drawings, and you can see where the weight is on these drawings. Like when the trucks run over Stitch, you can see where the weight is on those tires. And you're like, that is just, you put weight to something that doesn't even exist. That's absolutely stunning. When you see Jumba jump on Stitch, you can see where that weight hits him, and you're like, oh my God, that is just... And that was a trick that Milt Kahl would use a lot. Of course, everybody knows the infamous head bobble that he does where they're talking and bobbling their head at the same time, which is extremely hard to do in 2D animation because you're drawing everything. If you're doing it right. I mean, I know there's rigging nowadays. I just don't like rigging. I'm very old-fashioned. I'm an old woman. I'm 32, but whatever. So, that was another one of his tricks that he would do. He would look at something, see where the weight was positioned on that creature. We'll just go with Shere Khan because that is the most famous Milt Kahl creation to date. Excuse me, my pit bull is trying to knock my camera over. But he would watch tigers, and he would notice where they put their weight, and he would draw his tigers, his Shere Khan, with all of that weight, that same amount of weight. That same movement. And that's why we fell in love with the 7 Old Men and their talent, because they would look at things and they would stress things out, and that's why we fell in love with it. And this film has that same je ne sais quoi. I have no idea what that means. I'm not French. I'm not learning French. I'm learning 5 different languages, and French is not one of them. But yeah, that is my backstory. That's not really my review, but that's my backstory. I do highly recommend. I will always tell people, look, I don't know if you're going to like it. My mom hates the movie. I think I ran it in the ground with her. She's not a fan of Lilo and Stitch. It took her 20 years to accept the fact that this was not a phase, because most of my Disney films were just a phase. I love them all still, but Lilo and Stitch is stuck dramatically with me. But yeah, it took her 20 years to realize this was not a phase, and now she buys me Lilo and Stitch stuff. I wish she had done that when I was a kid. Just saying. But that is our review for this week. A little bit of backstory. It's mostly backstory. What can I say? I do love the film, though. Highly recommend. Look at the storyline to it. Look at the artwork. Look at it from an objective point of view when you watch it. Don't watch it and be like, I'm just going to watch it for the cute little blue alien, like I did at the age of 10. Yeah, there's no judgments there either, even if you do, because Stitch is adorable. My mom always said, he's so ugly, he's cute. And then after about the 500th time that I watched it, she's like, no, he's just ugly now. He's just hideous. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, madam. I do not know what you are talking about. He is adorable. And by the way, I am so obsessed that I do actually have a life-size Stitch and Angel plushie in my room. Yeah, I have it bad. Anyway, thank you for watching, and we will see you next time here on Lindsey Reviews Everything! A special thanks to our Patreon sponsor, Tess Thomas Jones and Jonathan Jones. Love you guys, and thank you for sponsoring. Thank you so much for showing interest in cryptids, critters, and magical creatures. I appreciate your support. I'm also working on a massive books, animated series, possibly a vlog of reviews, and more. Check out all of my projects at theladyvalkyrie.com, and please consider supporting us on Patreon at patreon.com/ladyvalkyrie for exclusive content and gifts, as well as early access to all of our content and behind-the-scenes looks at creation processes. Thank you again, and see you next time.